Well, speaking of tariffs and trade, we have our great friend, Kentucky Senator, Mr. Rand Paul. Senator Paul, welcome back, sir. So, Lil Birdie told me that you're very worried about the trade story for, among other reasons, Kentucky whiskey, Kentucky bourbon. And in fact, we have a full screen of 10 brands of Kentucky bourbon. This is going to be a good ad for your home state. Now, you know me, I haven't had a drink in over 30 years, so it doesn't really trouble me very much. But we haven't had that retaliation yet, Senator Paul. That's kind of where I'm going with this.
Well, it's fighting words when you come after Kentucky bourbon, Larry. I mean, that's just not right, and it really rankles us here in Kentucky, and it is. I mean, Canada has retaliated. Not only do they have tariffs, retaliatory tariffs on bourbon, they also just, in some ways, are just mad enough to take it off the shelves. We have Canadian store owners, we got Canadians booing us and booing the national anthem at hockey games and taking our bourbon off shelves. It's just not a good idea. I mean, we have great trade with Canada, and to disrupt the trade with Canada and Mexico isn't good for anyone. It certainly isn't going to be good for our economy.
Well, I hadn't known, Senator. Okay, I may stand corrected. I didn't realize about this Canadian retaliation of bourbon or whiskey or whatever. I did not know this. When did this begin?
Well, when we started putting a 50% tariff on aluminum and steel, it actually began back in 2018. The first time the first Trump administration did it, Europe put on tariffs, so did Canada, and bourbon sales plummeted. In fact, all U.S. spirits plummeted, and then finally there was an agreement made, and then the sales came back up. But no, this is an ongoing problem. Our farmers are suffering as well. Our farmers have had retaliatory tariffs, some of them going back to 2018 and 2019. And what we do is we simply give them direct subsidies. So the Trump administration has facilitated direct subsidies to the farmers to keep them quiet about the punishment of tariffs. So ultimately, you're going to hear from people. A lot of things that are going to happen with the tariffs are going to be ultimately adjusted. Like if you buy coats from Vietnam and you had a 6-month contract to sell coats at a certain rate, those contracts are expiring now. And what you're going to see between now and Christmas is a lot of contracts being adjusted upwards. You've had the tariffs and the promotion of what's going to happen that's beneficial, but we haven't seen the punishment yet, and that's rising prices in the tariff goods. You will see that as the contracts are readjusted and reassigned, and I think that happens in the next several months.
But what if we don't see that? I mean, you have a point about the whiskey retaliation. You have a point. It's an important point. But that's pretty rare. The retaliation part of this story has been very rare. And in truth, we showed the tariff effects, front page of the Wall Street Journal, their story. The tariff affects billions in revenue, but no economic earthquake. I mean, we haven't had a tariff recession. We haven't had a tariff inflation.
But I guess the question I would ask you, Larry, is they're bragging that they think they can bring in $2 trillion in revenue over 10 years. If someone came to you and said, hey, Larry, I've got this great idea for a value-added tax. It'll bring in $2 trillion over the next 10 years. You'd shake your head and say, we don't want to be Europeans. We're not for that. And we've never been for adding a sales tax without removing some other tax. So people all the time say, oh, we're going to get rid of the income tax. Sure, present that to me, and I'm for getting rid of the income tax in exchange for a tariff. But that's not what we're getting. We're getting $2 trillion in taxes on top of all the other taxes that we have. So ultimately, conservatives have to decide, do they like taxes because they're Donald Trump's taxes, or do we still say that we don't want more revenue coming out of the productive economy and going to government, that we want to balance the budget through reducing spending, not increasing taxes? That's still a fundamental question.
Well, we'll come and revisit, because, President Trump has said that he would use tariff revenues to lower taxes and deficits and perhaps debt as well. Now, we haven't seen that yet, but it's in the formative stages. We've just really started this experiment, if you will. I don't know. It's I know you. I respect your position. I know where you're coming from. And I do stand corrected on the whiskey retaliation. I'm going to look into that. Anyway, Senator Rand Paul, we'll have you back very soon. Talk some more on all this stuff. Sorry, we're a little tight on time. All right, folks, you bet. No, great to see you, sir.